Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of drive and hope, only to find by day's end that you haven't advanced much closer to your goals. Maybe you promised yourself you'd finally start that project, make that important call, or take a leap towards your dreams. Yet somehow, it just didn't happen. It's almost as if buried deep within you, there's a force quietly working against your own best intentions. This is the mysterious world Carl Jung explored when he spoke of the shadow and of self-sabotage. Forces we seldom see, but often feel. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, invited us to look past our conscious minds. He described the psyche as an iceberg. The part visible above the water is what we know, our thoughts, memories, and intentions. But far beneath the surface lies the unconscious. Within this hidden realm is what Jung called the shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny, suppress, or outright reject. These aren't just negative traits like anger, envy, or cowardice. Sometimes, the shadow holds our brightest gifts, talents, and desires, buried because we've been taught they're unacceptable or dangerous. But in pushing these traits away, Jung warned, we don't get rid of them. Instead, the shadow acts out from the darkness, shaping our behaviors in subtle, often destructive ways. One of its favorite tactics? Self-sabotage. What does self-sabotage actually look like? It isn't always dramatic failure. It's the thousand small hesitations, the inexplicable procrastination, the quiet dismissal of opportunities. Imagine you're offered a chance to present your ideas at work, a step that could elevate your career. But instead, you decline, telling yourself, I'm not ready. Or perhaps you set a goal to lead a healthier lifestyle, yet you consistently skip workouts or indulge in unhealthy comfort foods, all the while wondering why real change eludes you. Jung would advise, look to your shadow. Self-sabotage is the shadow's way of keeping you in familiar territory, where you're insulated from the pain of failure, judgment, or even success itself. Why would we fear success? Because the shadow knows that success brings change, visibility, expectations, and the risk of being ousted from the comfort of belonging. Let's anchor this in a personal story, a scenario that, in one form or another, is all too common. Picture a man named David, who has harbored a passionate dream of starting his own business. He has ideas, knowledge, access to resources. Each time he gets close, saving enough money, preparing a business plan, even eyeing a potential location, something unexpected happens. He stalls, second-guesses himself, finds flaws in his plans, or becomes obsessed with irrelevant details. It's not bad luck or external obstacles that detour him. According to Jung, it's David's shadow at work, whispering that he's simply not cut out for entrepreneurship, or that people like him don't succeed, perhaps echoing old experiences where he was discouraged from standing out. Why does the shadow do this? Its motives are neither malicious nor irrational. The shadow is formed early in life, shaped by experiences big and small. The critical teacher, the emotionally distant parent, the peer rejection, the moments where expressing your needs or talents was met with ridicule, punishment, or exclusion. To protect yourself, you begin to bury those parts. Creativity, ambition, even vulnerability, hoping for safety and love. But what you bury doesn't die. The shadow emerges later as resistance, fear, and self-destructive patterns. Jung took this even deeper, introducing the concept of the collective unconscious. Universal patterns, stories, and instincts shared by all humans and passed down through generations. These aren't just your personal blocks. They're ancestral, woven into the very fabric of what it means to be human. For millennia, standing out from the group could mean exile, vulnerability, or worse. So even today, when the stakes are far lower, that ancient instinct to avoid risk may manifest as self-sabotage. By recognizing that our self-defeating behaviors are both personal and universal, Jung invites us into a space of compassion. You're not weak, broken, or uniquely cursed. You are human, and these patterns are part of everyone's story. The key is not to reject your shadow, but to learn from it. So, how do you begin? Jungian psychology offers the concept of shadow work, or shadow integration. It's the process of making the unconscious conscious. The journey is not easy, but it's transformative. The first step is honest self-reflection. Pausing, without judgment, to notice your self-sabotaging habits. Instead of berating yourself for procrastination or avoidance, ask, what am I protecting myself from? Is there an old fear or belief that's being triggered? Keeping a journal can be powerful here. Track the moments when you shrink from opportunity, give up on a goal, or undermine your own efforts. Over time, themes will emerge. Fear of criticism, discomfort with visibility, feelings of unworthiness. Jung also developed the practice of active imagination, a creative dialogue with your shadow. Close your eyes. Imagine sitting across from the part of yourself that resists progress. What does it look like? An old version of you? A stern authority figure? A frightened child? Ask it in your mind, why are you stopping me? What do you want? Listen for the answer. You may find that the shadow's message is a plea for safety, for acknowledgement, or for self-compassion. Once heard, thanked, and understood, the grip of the shadow begins to loosen. Let's return to our earlier example. David, if he tries this inner dialogue, may discover that his shadow is carrying an old belief. If he fails publicly, he'll be humiliated, just like when he was laughed at in school for a mistake. In recognizing this, David can begin to heal that old wound. Not by denying it, but by nurturing the scared part of himself that is trying to stay safe. With this awareness, his fears become less paralyzing, and his confidence grows. Jung cautioned, too, that you must approach this work with compassion. The shadow isn't evil, it's the wounded guardian within. It requires gentle acceptance, not condemnation. As you integrate your shadow, you learn to bring light to the darkest corners of your psyche. Accepting all aspects of who you are, and in doing so, reclaiming your personal power. What happens as you do this deeper work? You gain freedom. The cycles of sabotage diminish. Choices once driven by unconscious fear become conscious decisions aligned with your authentic desires. This doesn't make you fearless or perfect, but it gives you the ability to act in spite of fear, to fail, learn, and try again. For David, that might mean launching his business, even knowing that not everything will be perfect. For countless others, it might mean speaking up, reaching out, daring greatly. Jung's genius was to show that destiny is not a fixed script, but an unfolding story shaped by the choices we make as we become more aware of ourselves. If left unexamined, your shadow will quietly dictate your path, writing chapters of regret and missed opportunities. Yet when you confront your shadow and invite it into the light, you gain agency. You become the author of your fate. Remember, too, that the process is ongoing, a lifelong practice. The shadow is deep, and as you evolve, new layers emerge. But each time you face a part of yourself previously denied or ignored, you grow in wisdom, compassion, and strength. So think for a moment. What goals have you let fade away? What dreams seem forever on the horizon, never quite reached? Is there a pattern to your hesitation? A voice of self-doubt that whispers from the shadows? By meeting that voice with curiosity and kindness, you take the first step out of the loop. You begin to live not from fear, but from freedom. Carl Jung's haunting insight was this: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Self-sabotage is not your destiny. It is your shadow in need of your attention. By looking within, by bravely exploring the hidden parts of your own story, you can unlock the doors that have long kept you from your potential. You might discover not only how to stop holding yourself back, but also how to step boldly into a future that feels truly your own. And isn't that the greatest adventure of all?